Hi everybody. It's 2023, a new beginning. I love this. Beautiful. I've got a few predictions for the new year. One is I do feel that there's going to be a change, and I'm also changing my show a little bit. I'm going to add some humor. I feel that we need that in our life today. What I'm going to start off with is a poem. Actually, I just found it from 2009. I wrote this. It's called A New Beginning. Appropriate. Let me start off with this. A new beginning. I wait for this great miracle. The days turn into weeks, and I'm beginning to become so peaceful. What joy lies ahead. I must be patient, for I must stay in the now. This is the way it must be. I'm awakening all the time. I am truly blessed. I can talk with my angels and guides. I think, how did this happen? I have no fear. I listen. My guides are here. I ask and I receive. I give thanks for this adventure. It is all but an illusion. We need this time to reorganize what was and what is and what will be. We watch the movie. We can change the part at any time. How great. We came here. What a gift. Go with peace, love and light. Zena. To me, that's really appropriate today. I've learned over the years what meaning this has. I had no idea what I was writing, just the same way that I was doing my art. But to me, it's very meaningful today. I'm going to read one more, and then we'll get on with the show. I love the questions and answers, so please call me, and I can tell you, hopefully, what's going to happen in the new year for you. It's Here We Go Again. What a jump my mind has made. It is sometimes difficult to function in this awareness of being. I must. It is important to us understand the illusion. This is a gift we gave ourselves. Keep trying. Mind. You are on the way. I am remembering many things from my past. Is this important, I ask? Well, yes. Do not go too deeply into it. Accept it. Do not judge, understand what is needed, and then move on. Bring it into the now. You know how. Just do it. My mind is definitely becoming more peaceful. This is good. It needs to surrender, again, little by little. It does wander. I must still master this. I only understand such a small amount. We are here. We have to start somewhere. My paintings are opening up my awareness to spirit. They allow me to have a small glimpse into what is real. We have it backwards, and so much more to understand. Let's start in the beginning. Forget what we have been told, mainly controlled to capture our minds, and then to behave the way that they want. No, no, no. I just love that. We can interpret it any way we want, but I feel very deeply about doing this in my shows and adding humor, and please call in. Thank you. We're going to a commercial, I believe, and then please call in at the...
Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995.
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
Well, welcome back. I am here to answer your questions. I also have a guest today, which is Lynn Everard, who is writing my book. He's here to answer also some of the questions. We're actually going to probably go into past lives, which is both our favorite topics. I think I'm right in saying that, Lynn?
Yes,
so
you
if
are.
you have any questions, please call in, and I'm happy to answer them. We also have a few people in the studio, so we'll go from here. Thank you. Do you have a question?
All right, I have a question.
Thank you.
You opened up with poems about illusion.
Right.
Do you feel 2023 people be more speaking their truth and be more authentic, or are we still going to be in this illusion?
I feel that we're going through a change, Dawn. We were talking about this a little while ago. Yes, a few hours ago. 2023 is, and very appropriate, my first poem or prose was called A New Beginning. I think we're beginning to start here, to begin to open up and understand to many things that are going on. If I may, I'm just going to go over what we did a little bit with your last show, talking about how we are actually getting messages from the universe. I really feel that because so much is changing today. And if you want to go into this a little bit, I feel that, and I believe very much that Mother Earth is talking to us. So much is happening. We're becoming more aware of how vulnerable this Earth is. And again, my program is all about positivity, so I'm not saying anything negative. But we're getting little messages. Let's starting off with the weather. We're having many, many changes. So I'm feeling that people will feel this, which is negative, but will turn into a positive, because we need to change. We need to start understanding that we are vulnerable. We need to love each other. I know people say that, but we really need to start doing that. So I like the question that you just asked me, and I think that 2023 is time for change, or understanding more.
But we're talking change for the better, not necessarily a bad change or a political change. It's
Change for the better, yes, because if any one of my listeners that know my show, I'm very positive about all this, and including Lynn too, and I feel that you feel the same way. It's so important to be positive. It's part of what we bring to us. We can bring negativity or we can bring positive energy. So why not be positive? Why not say, even if we're having a bad day, everything is going to be all right? There's always reasons sometimes for that negativity.
And we were talking before the show about past lives. Do you think we remember any of our past lives that we bring here?
Most of the time we don't. I was lucky enough, as people who know me and who have been following me, that I had a guide here who materialized in this world, who actually was from a previous life. Again, he didn't lead me into it, but I started drawing from that lifetime. I can't make people believe this. I truly believe it. And the people that do seem to get flashbacks of their past lives. We all do, but we don't recognize it. Yes, we're here. I truly believe we've had many, many lives, as I know that you do too, Lynn. And there are people, when you believe that, you begin to see that. We begin to have little things that happen, remembrances. The illusion is another show. I'd love to talk about that too. And I've learned a lot about that, but we'll go into more past lives, and certainly in another show, let's talk about the illusion, which I wrote about, which I didn't understand in 2009. It came to me the same way as my art.
So Lynn, maybe you want to talk about past lives.
Sure. I've had an interest in past lives for quite some time, and I really think that when we're open to things, that's when they tend to show up. If we just say, I don't believe in something, then there's really no place for that to come into our lives and for us to have that experience. But the minute that we declare ourselves open to it, even if we hadn't experienced it at all, up to that point, then things can start to come in.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, if you had asked me this question 20 years ago, I'd say no, there's no such thing as a past life. But when my guide Aldo came into my life, I began to open up, and that was the key, to open up. And I was remembering things he never told me, but he'd been in a specific lifetime with me. And I'm describing rooms and people and places. I'm putting them on art. To me, how could I be doing that if I hadn't lived in that particular lifetime? So I feel that 2023, more people are going to begin to open up to this. They may not understand it, as I didn't, but it becomes very real to you as you go more into it. And I also believe, and I think you do too, Lynn, is that we meet people from other lives. Not everybody incarnates in this particular lifetime, but we do tend to find that we meet people that were in our lives. If we don't remember, we don't know. But when you start to remember, I feel that they gravitate to us. They may not remember, but many things happen.
Well, and the people that do remember, they gravitate to us and we gravitate to them. But there's also this deep sense of appreciation that whatever your connection is with them in this life, that you become so grateful that you have re-encountered this person in another lifetime. And it just, I don't know, it's, you know, it's a, I'm not sure what to call it, like a level or degree or a step in, you know, we have the belief in God or the universe or source, and then we exist here on this human plane. But when we meet someone from a past life, it's an experience that takes our belief like halfway to where it needs to go.
To another level,
it.
absolutely,
Yes.
it certainly does. And even if you're not a believer at the moment, as long as you're aware that maybe there is such a thing, you will feel, I mean, it can work both ways, because obviously, just as we're here, we like people, we don't like people, that's human. But we can also feel, if we had someone in a previous lifetime that we didn't get along with, and you can, for some reason, say, I don't like that person, just the same as we can say we really like that person and feel comfortable. It works the same way. But I feel that we come back with the same group of people many, many times.
Yes.
We play different parts. And I've had so much validation from that, that to me, I am 100% believer. I was not, but I am today.
Right, we're almost like a traveling minstrel show troupe going through all this journey on Earth.
Right.
Right, and
Yes.
we not everybody is in every scene, not everybody's in every number on the stage.
And they don't always incarnate, but I
Right.
believe they're watching. And as I'm talking about this, and I do, you know, rely a lot on my guides talking to me, they're bringing up William Shakespeare. And part of what he said, if all the world's a stage and we're merely players, and I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but that's so true. We're just playing different parts. And we switch around in each lifetime. That's
Well,
my
yeah,
belief.
I think we know on some level what this is all about. Because if you think of some of the sayings, right, but there's other sayings in life, other memes, we call them memes today, we would have called them sayings 30 years ago, but there are things that we say as humans that we don't really know what we're saying, but at the same time, we are adding credibility to this thought.
Because I think we're pulling from, as I have, and I mean for myself, I've definitely validated for myself, because my art, I'm drawing from other lifetimes. I didn't know about other lifetimes. So I'm pulling certain things. The poem that I just read, or prose, whatever we like to call it, was from 2009. I did not know what I know today, and yet I'm talking about many things like that, which is coming to me. Is it coming from a collective, or is it coming, which I like to think sometimes, from my higher self? But I'm getting a message that my mind today did not know. how does that happen unless there's something more? I think we need to be open to the fact we don't always have to believe everything in the beginning, but just have that awareness that there is something more than just us being here in this lifetime.
Right, and even if you're not aware of a past life, and maybe you go through this entire life not being aware of past lives, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or that you're missing something. It simply is that perhaps in this lifetime, the lessons that you came here to learn didn't require the support of other people that you went through other lifetimes with.
Yes, that's so true too, because my guide Aldo, and of course he has now passed, but he would tell me that. He knew who I was like in the 15th century. So I said, well, who was I after that? That's quite a while back. He said to me, from what he knew, is that it was dormant. I had a very important role in that lifetime, but I got so fed up with it that I just decided that when I come back, I don't want any part of it. It does not leave you, as far as I can tell people. It'll always be there, but it doesn't always come to pass in each lifetime. In this lifetime, I realize now, and that's why he came in to help me, I began, as they call it, to wake up. And I'm remembering many more things. I mean, to me, my proof was that I'm drawing things from another life, when at that time I didn't believe in another life. How am I drawing signs and symbols and buildings from the 15th century that I had not seen? I mean, to me, I needed to be banged on the head, wake up, it exists.
Well, since you mentioned 15th century, and I haven't talked to you about, we haven't talked in a few weeks, but about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was on YouTube, and it's funny because YouTube is this fascinating place where you can call it whatever you want to call it, but for me, it's kind of a portal because it's where I go to find information about my past lives. I can't really explain it, but for example, I started watching these videos on YouTube of abandoned castles in France. And it was, I mean, literally everything was in the castle, everything was there, the family had abandoned it. And some of these go, 14th century, 12th century, 15th century. And there was one that came on, and I'm watching this, and I said, okay, I'm getting some really weird feelings right now. As if I was there, or somebody I know was there, or I visited there, I don't know, right? But it's so just when you're doing things like that, when you're on YouTube or something, pay attention to the things you're seeing.
Totally, I don't want to interrupt you but I just want to tell you I totally relate, because here I'm sketching, and Aldo had not told me, that was my guide here, check it out on the internet. So not necessarily YouTube, but I went into the internet and I see my artwork that I had never looked at before at that particular time, because it was a prominent lifetime from the 15th century. How do you draw signs and symbols? We have the internet today, which makes it a lot easier for people to see and maybe understand or feel something, as you did on YouTube. And I'm looking, well, where is this coming from? It's coming from me, because it was me, but it made me understand, it made me open up to have a look at this. And then from then onwards, I became a great believer of this. And I've had many, what we call, let's say, downloads, which I know that you can relate to, from other lifetimes, and met many people, as I believe that we were together in another lifetime.
Right.
This is not coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences, as you know.
I don't think there's any such thing as a coincidence.
No.
And the fascinating thing is, when you meet someone from another lifetime, especially someone you spent a lot of time with or developed a very deep, close relationship with, that there's a level of knowing between you and them that is really hard to explain, because it's like you know the essence of their soul.
Because
right?
they're with you. We've known them,
Yes.
right? So that's validation in itself,
Right.
because you don't even have to say something. I had this with Aldo, my guide here. I just knew but he didn't want to lead me into it. It has to come from us.
Right.
So everything that I said or I described a room, it was exactly as he had told me that it was. You know, I mean, he never led me into this. It's a fascinating subject. Let's see if there's anybody that wants to ask questions on this.
I got a question.
Right.
People usually meet. Sometimes you know them, sometimes you don't. And then it becomes a very questionable, why do we meet? And all of a sudden, if you have the gift of the vision of understanding past lives, somehow that person is involved. These meetings, for lack of a better word, that happen, do they happen for a reason in present time?
My immediate answer to that is yes, Freddie, they do. We have what we call, and many people know about this, it's a karma. Karma is not the way that we always see it. Karma is working out things, but it can be good, it can be bad. It's nothing, it's just that, just like here, we have a continuation from another life. Maybe there was something that we had to work through, and then we didn't. We come in with contracts with one another. This is, again, my belief, and I always say that. To keep an open mind. Not everybody is going to understand or even believe it, but that's okay. I was there one time in my life too. But we come in and it's a continuation. We are different. We can be a man or we can be a woman, but we play out the same kind of scenario to carry on. It's kind of let's do it till we get it right type of thing. I notice you're nodding your head. You believe in that, I hope. Yes,
oh, absolutely,
yes. Absolutely.
And I've read that sometimes it takes 3 or 4 lifetimes to learn a lesson.
Yep.
Because there might be a whole lifetime, the setup of that lesson, and then it might take 2 or 3 more lifetimes for us to actually learn the lesson that is in that.
And how great is that, really? Because it doesn't end when we think it ends. We continue. And that's our choice. We have free will here. So if we had, let's say, a relationship with someone and it didn't work out, but we feel that we really love that person, we have an opportunity to go over that, which I call after we pass here, and we can discuss it. And I feel that my guides are definitely telling me this, and we can bring it into the next life. Again, we have free will. It may not happen, but we have many other lifetimes to work that out. That's a wonderful feeling, I think. Anyway,
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yes, yes. Any questions from the audience?
Do you think that the age of someone, maybe I'm saying this for myself, changes the viewpoint of exactly what the two of you are talking about right now? So the older you get, the more fascinated you are how you can see things differently, or age doesn't matter, because we all begin the voyage at 0 and move forward. How does age influence what's going on what the two of you are talking about?
Okay, my immediate reaction to that would be that maybe it's not necessarily to do with age. But again, I also feel that I need to say this too. As we get older, we're approaching passing. So we kind of want to look into something more because we don't know where we're going. It makes you feel a little happier about passing away if you know that you're going somewhere. So within age, I mean, children are coming in today that know all this from a very early age. They don't always remember, but that's their specific reason, which we call the indigo or children of light, or whatever name we want to say. They don't always remember, but they're remembering at a young age. As we get into our later past of our life, we kind of want to look into maybe there's something more, because after all, we're here and then we're gone. That's depressing, right? I want to bring humor into this too. This is part of my new year. I want to bring some humor in. So let's try and do that. But I think age in that respect actually helps a little bit. If that makes, my guides always say, does that make sense to you? So I'm asking you that.
Man or woman doesn't make a difference.
No, it makes no difference whatsoever, because I also do believe in other lifetimes. What we choose, we may have a dominant. I feel that mine has been that I have been a female in many more lives than a male, but we do change. We change to have all these different experiences. Again, as William Shakespeare said, if all the world's a stage, we come in as different characters. He knew. I believe that he knew this.
So how is it that it carries forward? And if you were a man or a woman in prior lives, does it make a difference on your way of thinking today?
Well, I'm going to bring in humor, okay? Let's do this, and I'm not sure. If a man treated a woman not so nicely, let's turn this around, you know? Okay, so this is what I feel, okay? I'm not saying that you should be horrible, but you're kind of getting a little bit of revenge there, right? So no, it's our choice. We work it out with people.
So you could have been a male or a female in prior lives.
Absolutely, and I'm thinking about when I was a male, because I'm thinking about that. But we do have more of a dominant, I do believe, to bring it back into the now. I believe I've been female more times than I've been male. But that's our choice. We have free will once we do arrive here.
You know, there's another part of this too, Freddie, to get back to your earlier question, and that is that sometimes we're holding on to life so tightly because we're afraid to let it go, but we're not really living, right? And as we get older, we reach a point where, you know, we're not holding on so tight. It doesn't mean that we're going to go tomorrow, but we're not holding on so tight. And when we stop holding on so tight, we let go of our attachment outcomes. And when we let go of that attachment outcomes, then life gets to flow through us, rather than us trying to like manage every little aspect of it and try to make it all work in a certain direction, and that creates a lot of stress for us. So as we get older and we start to let go a little bit, we can actually have, and my younger self is laughing right now because it had no idea of what would happen when you get older, but you can just let go and say, wow, like I'm actually going to enjoy this moment. When you're a kid, you're always like, well, when I get to be 18, I'm going to do this, and when I'm 21, I'm going to do this, and then when I'm 30, I'm going to do that, and when I get to another age, I'm going to do this. And we're always projecting out into the future, not realizing that we're wishing our life away.
And, you know, I have to interrupt here because I just got married and I'm not a young person anymore. So I thought, well, I may as well enjoy the rest of my life. I met someone that I love, so we got married. If I had been maybe 20 years younger, I might have said, no, I've got time to get married. I've been married a few times. But I did get married, and I'm very happy that I got married because we can spend the rest of our life, or whatever we have left. We're both not young people, and enjoy our lives. I love doing this, but it's also important to enjoy what we can within our means to enjoy life too. Yeah. So mine is doing research on this. I love this, but I also have to put in my own life too to enjoy it. And I think I proved that by getting married.
Would you say stage set to learn? I mean, did you ever think you'd get married at your age again?
I never thought about it, Freddie, ever. And I knew Steve many years ago, but we only got reacquainted a year ago. And the last thing from my mind when I met him was to get married. But here I am, just under a year, and we're married. This is a good thing. I don't know if that carries on to another lifetime. Let's say we are married, so we're going to be married again in another lifetime. But it kind of ends this life with a relationship that we've kind of, because people say, why get married? You're not young. But I feel that it has a little bit more, what's the word? I feel like it has more meaning. It's more meaningful that we did that. Not that you have to do that, and I'm not telling people go out and get married because I didn't think I would. But I think it brings in, and it closes a part of our life, actually. I feel it's closure there, yeah.
So it's a reversal. People usually ask, what do you see? I'm asking, what do you see? Because you set the stage for something else. And I'm curious. You know, I said this to Lynn the other day as well. More people have come asking questions about themselves, about their past lives, about what's going on, like what Frank is going on. And more people are coming to answer the bell. I'm just curious if this is stage set for something you're perhaps wanting to learn more of, teach more of, or a combination of both?
Love that. The first thing that came to my mind is I have been married 3 times. This is my 4th marriage. Okay, I think I had to learn how to get it right. But, you know, I don't know. I think we plan our life, but again, it's open to change. So everybody has different reasons for doing many different things. I guess mine was to remarry again. I wasn't aware of it. Aldo, who told me a lot of what was going to happen in my life, didn't see this. But I have had many messages and validations since he's passed that I'm on the right track. So I have to go with that too. But everybody, we're all individuals, and it depends what we want to work through with relationships. Maybe we have a relationship with someone that we don't get along with, but we want to, and we come back and we meet that person. There's so many different answers to this, but it's a lovely topic. It's certainly worth talking about.
You have goals set for yourselves for the coming year? Things that you want to
Yes, we do actually. I want to pursue this. I love it here at the Brooklyn Cafe, and I've expressed my feelings here. I feel that I want to expand what I'm doing. I also want to continue here and bring that expansion here. We would love to bring more people into the studio. I'm happy to answer questions. Anybody that's local, please come in. I'm here. It's free entry, so feel free. Just like to call up. You may as well be sitting in person. Of course, that's just for local people, but I want to expand this much more. I'm in the process of writing my book with my editor here, who, again, how can this be coincidental? We both have the same understanding, and yet we only met a few months ago. So nothing is coincidental. Thank you, and I think we're going to a commercial. Thank you.
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real, and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybernard.com today. Now, back to the show. Hello, everybody. Okay, here we are back again. Questions, please give us whatever you want to talk about, past lives or whatever is on your mind that you'd like to ask either one of us. Anyone in the studio to start off?
Question here?
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
I heard someone say once that, we were talking in the earlier segment about having experienced being both men and women in lifetimes, right? And I've heard it said that when a person comes back and they're making a shift, and let's say they're a man in this lifetime, but in their previous lifetime they were a woman. And so they're going through a huge shift in reacclimating to what life would be like. And the person that I heard this from suggested that perhaps this is a part, not all, but a part of what has people becoming transgender.
As you were asking, I'm getting, my goosebumps. You talk about, absolutely. I had never looked at it that way, but as you were asking me that question, absolutely, because we have memory, although we don't know we have memory. So obviously we would be a little confused of what gender we are. I have never talked about this before, but as you were asking me the questions, I was getting a download on that. I think so. We're confused. We don't know. So, we need to understand more. People are very understanding today, and I'm very happy about that. But we still need to know a little bit more. Yes, I do think that we are confused. Certain people, not always, but if we've been a woman for so many lifetimes and then we're suddenly a man, it would stand to reason that we would be maybe a little confused. So yes, that was an interesting question, and I got a very interesting answer on that.
Sally, when people come to their awakening and they realize there's more to this life than this physical world, how can they be guided to find that balance that we talk about all the time?
Okay, I think the awareness is what's important. We don't want to go overboard with either one, but if you become awakened, as I am doing, I'm not fully awakened, in the beginning, and I have to confess to this is all I wanted to talk about. But then as time went by, I said to myself, no, I'm still here. So it's up to us. We don't want to go overboard one way or the other, but we don't want to neglect either one. So as we're beginning to open up, we need to get all the resources, and programs like we're doing here are very good. I mean, I'm happy to talk to anyone about this because I've been through it, but I'm not the only one. So listen, go onto YouTube, listen, but we also must not lose touch of where we are too. There's that very fine balance which we need to do, because we're here to learn also. So we're here to carry on with our life so that we can bring it into the next lifetime. So it's important. And I have to sometimes remind myself, but I like that balance. I like that balance.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you have to remind yourself, or can you always stay present with your calling and your message?
Well, I can, and I'm getting much more used to it. In the very beginning, when I started to paint and I didn't understand it, and I'm just drawing things that I never had an art lesson, I got very carried away with that. I was painting 12, 13 hours a day. I was waking up in the middle of the night to continue my paintings. I had my guide, Aldo, here. He would call me at that point. He knew what I was doing. He said, go to sleep, go to eat. I mean, he used to drive, and if he's listening up there or around me, I know. And he knew exactly. But sooner or later, I realized, yes, this was just part of my life. I also had a job. I was working in sales. I could not work for a month. Well, that wasn't going to help me. I needed some money. So I realized that I had to go back to my job. So I balanced slowly, little by little, as he used to say to me, little by little, just do a little bit there and a little bit here. And I began to be able to figure that out. And today, my life is pretty balanced.
Is there one phrase that sticks in your mind that reminds you of Aldo, that brings you back to, all right, this is why I'm here, this is my calling?
Yes, he said several things. One was little by little, go very little with this. I mean, he was with me for guiding me for 18 years. The other is to not to be surprised with things. I still, with everything that I understand today, and I get all these validations, I'm saying to the person who's getting the validation, who knows what I teach, this is amazing. And they're saying, but you understand this. And he used to say to me, always, it's to be expected. And I hear his voice when I hear these things. He said to me, when things happened, because he didn't have the reaction that I had, and it still carries on to my friends. They're surprised with me. But then I hear him say, it's to be expected. We just need to look for, understand, not necessarily look, because the more we look, somehow it doesn't happen. But it happens. So just have that gratitude that we're beginning to open up. It's all around us. It's not just me. It's all of us can do this. But you have to open up and expect, not necessarily expect it, but just give gratitude for it, but have that understanding that they're working with us.
Is that part of the power of prayer? Is the collective coming together?
I think so, definitely. And I am not into football that much, but I can't remember his name, the guy that just had this terrible accident.
Damar Hamlin.
As I was watching the program today, how he's recovering, that power is so strong with his number of what his football, I think it's a 3. That vibration is there. The power of prayer, no matter what you believe, it doesn't matter, be it God, be it anything, that power is so great done in numbers. It's there, that's that energy going forward. It's important.
I think there was something with, wasn't it like the third play or the 300 something?
There is a, lack of a better word, coincidence. 7 different things happen with the number 3. Third play, just different things that were going on with the number 3, and that's his jersey number as well. But it was the quarterback from the Buffalo Bills who started crying on the stage because everything came in 3s. Ever
Right.
since that incident occurred on Thursday night, it has been a replica of 3 over and over and over and over again. So, like you say, there are no coincidences. Why is it happening now?
I feel that sometimes, sometimes it doesn't always end, it can end in a person passes or whatever, but I feel they pick, or we pick certain things to happen to us to show the world more. They begin to open up more. People are saying, my goodness, look what's happened with everybody praying. We ourselves choose for that to happen, and it brings to mind there was a little boy, Maddie, I think his name was, who was like 5 or 6, who came in, and this lady, his mother, had several children who had died from a specific disease. I'm not sure exactly what it was. This child came in, but he came in to teach us, and he lived for, I think he was 7 or 8. If anybody's listening, they might know who I'm talking about. He wrote the most beautiful poems, but he came in just to open up people's minds so that there was so much more. I did not understand at that time, but I was listening in awe of what he was talking about. A 6 or 7-year-old who was dying from this disease was giving us messages. We come in to help us, all of us, and we pick certain things to do to help all of us. I believe that. I can't tell you that he had this and a problem and that he was dying. I mean, it's a tragedy, but however, it's turning out and people are listening now to prayer. Hopefully that maybe not have prayed before.
So maybe the message of an injury is the collective coming together and saying, here's another reason that we should keep the faith.
I think so. It makes you open up a little bit. I mean, people go to church or whatever faith you are, and we just go through the motion, a lot of us, as I did too. I'm not a religious person at all. But when you see something that actually is happening before your eyes, it kind of opens your mind a little bit more. That awareness, we have to have that awareness, Dawn, to start this journey. Without that, we're going to have a closed mind. Mine was through my art. I was drawing things from past lives, and Aldo appeared. I didn't know this many centuries ago, but as he would tell me, it was dormant. I brought it out in this lifetime because I chose to. I mean, I can't again prove any of this. I can only tell you what's happened to me. I've given myself the proof. I just would like to spread this to more people so that they can understand.
And you ended up in the hospital. I don't want to say an injury, but something happened to you that when you came out from the hospital, you had all these abilities that had been hidden that suddenly unsurfaced.
Exactly, that did happen. I had a very closed mind prior to that. I completely changed, and that was the time after I came out of hospital that Aldo appeared in my life. He would not have appeared. He knew I had to be ready, but I was having things happen to me that I had absolutely no explanation for. I'm suddenly a completely different person. I did not know that in the beginning, but my interest, I remembered how I was, part of how I wasn't interested in now the things that I was becoming interested in. The main thing was I could never paint. I'd never had a painting, I never had a lesson in my life. And I'm drawing from other lifetimes.
Well, I was ready, but I did not know I was ready, so I had to have something dramatic happen to me. And it happened, and it worked.
When you astro project, or when people come, people say they see Jesus or they see the Virgin Mary come to them in a dream. Is there an overall message, typically?
Well, it depends. We are what our mind will tell us. We see who we want to see. So again, and I always say I can only tell you what I believe. But if someone believes very strongly that they want to see Jesus, when we astral project or when we pass or we go to another dimension, you will see Jesus, because that's what your mind is telling you. He's there. But how, and if you look at this logically, as us, how many times can we be in all these different places? I mean, people have to think that. But we see what we want to see, and that carries on. I truly believe, although Aldo has come to me in many messages, in fact, driving here today, I said, show yourself to me again. You give me messages, and many that are unbelievable. Even to people are giving me his last name. But I want to see him now. I'm ready. Maybe they don't always come because it might scare me, but I'm ready to see him now. I want him to materialize, so let's see what happens.
Lynn was talking the other day about not a past life that we had, but now they're parallel lives.
I love that, Lynn. These subjects are very, I'll answer the questions that people want to know about their loved ones and who they're going to meet. But what I love is parallel lives, of time travel, of all these things. So if there are people out there, this only came to me over the last 10 or 12 years, but it's absolutely fascinating. And I believe maybe we should put a little bit in the book that we're writing, because the topic, it's real. As far as I know, it's real. We have parallel lives. Just go into movies. They touch on these things. Where are they getting their information from? Who would say, well, there's another Earth waiting for us with the same thing going on? It's in the movies. Look at certain things. Even go into the Matrix, go into Star Trek, all these things with all these different people in different dimensions. They're getting it from somewhere. So I love that. I love that. That was a great question, Dawn. Thank you.
About the parallel lives. So with the parallel lives, we know who you were one of your past lives. If this is a parallel life to her life, what message do you think you're here to convey?
Because we have free will, I feel, and I know who I was in the 15th century, you know who I was. I was not aware of that in the life and in this lifetime, I wasn't aware of that particular person. However, when I switched, everything changed about me, and I became very aware of who I was in the 15th century. So much so that I'm drawing art and paintings from that lifetime, which I didn't do in the other lifetime. So to me, I definitely went into another parallel life. I have many things, to me, is proof of what happened. Aldo showed me many things from that lifetime, which is another show too, which maybe we can put in the book too a little bit. In my mind, it exists. I have no doubt in my mind it exists. How do I know all this? I mean, I wasn't taught this. I was, but not in this lifetime.
Well, maybe another show topic for you is also soul contracts.
Yes.
Right? So that Damar Hamlin, the football player, I mean, you mentioned earlier that we don't know what's going to happen to him going forward, because he could be great now and then something else could happen, but that on some level he had a contract, a mission that he signed up for, to come and do what he's been doing up to this point.
And I totally agree with that. What happened to me, I wasn't well known, but I needed to spread my message because I was able to, but I didn't know that I was able to do this. So it happened to me. Had I have been very well known at that point, I could have talked about this 15 years ago. I choose today, the end of my life, to bring my message forward. It's not, ego gets in the way, I want to do this, I want to do that, but I feel it's a very important message. He already was known, so he could show what was happening. It's easier at that point to choose that, if that makes sense.
Well, and is that part of the overall evolution that we're going through, where people are discovering their purpose, their calling earlier in life?
I think so. I mean, we're getting help from the kids that are coming in. They do understand. They may not always. I mean, Aldo was one of those children many years ago. He came in with full memory of a year old. He was reading a newspaper, never having a lesson. How does that happen? But there are many kids coming in, and I brought this up before, like take the talent shows. America's Got Talent. These children are 4, 5, 6 years old with these amazing skills. They look like little women or men, and they're this high. Because they're remembering. They may not know that, but it's coming from somewhere. It's coming from somewhere. I want to get this out so much because I think it gives us a lot of peace of mind. A lot of people are scared about dying. It's not the end. I can tell you, as much as what I know, it is not the end, okay?
Sally, how can you help people communicate with their loved ones that have passed?
How can I be open to, like I am too? We all have what I'm doing. We're just not open, or it might not be our time. But when little things happen, when we think, well, that's what my loved one would have done, and it's happening, maybe it's your loved one showing you something. They try, but they can't get, it's just like here, I can't get through to people that don't want to believe me, and I understand that. But I try. I'm not going to stop trying because my awareness is there. It's the same when we've lost someone. I mean, you know, I bring up my daughter again. I lost my daughter. Now it's about 7 or 8 months ago. I truly believe that she's coming through to me. I mean, you have said that you've even seen her because and I believe this is true. She's aware that I'm aware of that. If I'm not, they'll give up too. They won't exactly give up, but they'll say, well, I'm not getting anywhere, and they may do it with somebody else. Be aware that there is more, and you'll open your mind up, and so many things will happen, so many things that we think are coincidences. They're not. They're not.
You think they lead us on a different path, or?
Well, it depends again on our journey. We have to have some sort of wanting to be ready. I truly believe sometimes when we've gone through a lot, we want to know that there's more. Again, this is the only thing I slightly differed from my guide Aldo. I believe when we've had hard times, as they say, you reach your rock bottom, we open up. What is there? Is there more? He told me that you don't necessarily have to go through that. However, he had a very hard life. Maybe you don't, but I feel that it's easier to accept when you just say or pray, help me, what can happen? And then you'll see things happen. You'll listen more because you need to listen. And I think, I'm not saying you have to have a hard life. Well, who has it really easy? Not too many people anyway. You begin to open up.
Do you ever wonder why you were chosen or have been chosen?
I asked Aldo that. He came in because he said I knew a lot from another lifetime. I had had it dormant, and that I was ready in this lifetime to begin to understand again where I left off from all those centuries back. And it came flooding back to me. So I mean, how do I know all this? I haven't read or studied a whole lot of this, and yet I had his help. And in the beginning, I used to say, leave me alone. I don't want to know anymore. But he worked on me for a reason. He said to me, this is what's happening. And he told me many, many things. I would never change that. And I believe he still is. So hopefully I'm an instrument for people that want to begin to understand this so that I can spread my message to people. Life is hard. Let's try and make it a little easier with understanding more.
You think the messages that we receive from not only our loved ones, but I know we all have guides that walk with us, help us navigate this journey that we're on?
Absolutely, 100%. I believe that. It's still up to us because the reason is we have contracts with them, but we do have, and that's part of what we have when we arrive here, free will. We can change that at any time. So if you decide to do this, they're all there, just like a teacher would be. You don't have to do it, even though you've had a contract of some kind, but they're aware of that. So they may try to change you, but ultimately we have the last say in what happens to us.
free will actually also can explain why so many of us seem to get here early. And then, like, what do we do with ourselves while we're waiting for our time to actually do what we came to do, right? Because we have to wait for things to work themselves out, to line up, like for the stars to line up and things like that.
Well, I think probably I had that happen because it came to me later on in my life. If you had told me a little bit about reincarnation when I was in my 20s, I didn't understand it. Right. But then I was led to books like Shirley MacLaine, Out on a Limb, and Brian Weiss, who wrote Many Masters, Many Lives. They were leading me into something that I already knew that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. So maybe my time wasn't right because I needed Aldo in my life too to help me. So when all this happened, not that long afterwards, I met Aldo. So there is no time, as I see from the other side. Right. But you may have it as a child. It doesn't matter when you get it. You get it. Well, you begin to get it. So even if you get it in the latter part of your life, that will carry through into the next lifetime, which is an important thing for people to understand.
Which means age is not a limitation.
No, absolutely not. No, it's not. What we learn, we don't forget. We don't always bring it into every lifetime, but when we're ready, we will bring, it's like reading a book, we'll bring all the remembrance of everything in. My time was in this lifetime. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I will help people as best I can to open up to this. That's why we're writing a book too. You know, how did I meet you, Lynn? Why did we come here? Why do we have the same belief system? It was meant to be, I think. Yes, definitely. Thank you. Well, we have just a few minutes left, so I will be here next week to answer your questions. If anybody is interested in previous lives, write down what you want to ask me. I'll be happy to answer the best that I can. Think of questions and please call in. And if there's anybody local, and I have to keep saying this, please come into the studio, the Brooklyn Cafe, which is right here where I'm sitting, and I always forget the address, but just look it up. It's on the internet, on my show, and you will be more than welcome with Freddie and Dawn. I love them. Okay, thank you.
Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.